Jaewon Park sat in his tiny apartment, surrounded by half-empty coffee mugs and computer screens displaying lines of complex code. At 28, he had resigned himself to a life of routine, working as a software developer, living paycheck to paycheck in Seoul, and dreaming of something more exciting. The holographic message appeared without warning, its blue light flickering against the cluttered wall. At first, Jaewon thought it was another spam transmission or a glitch in his outdated communication system, but something felt different about this message. A translucent figure materialized, an alien representative wearing what seemed like a metallic suit that shifted colors with each movement. The being spoke in perfect Korean, its voice neutral and precise. Jaewon Park, you are the sole heir to an extraordinary inheritance from a distant relative you never knew existed, the holographic messenger announced. Jaewon blinked, certain he was hallucinating. Distant relative? Inheritance? The words seemed too fantastic to be real. The messenger continued, explaining that his biological grandmother was not from Earth, but from a distant planet called Krovax. She had been a diplomatic researcher who had briefly visited Earth decades ago, and Jaewon was the result of a complex genetic arrangement designed decades before his birth. Your inheritance includes significant financial resources, planetary holdings, and a contractual marriage arrangement, the messenger stated matter-of-factly. The financial details were mind-boggling. Jaewon's modest bank account, which typically hovered around a few $1,000s, would now be replaced by interstellar credits worth millions. Planetary holdings meant he would own significant territories on an alien world. But the marriage arrangement? That was the most shocking part. A woman named Arya, a high-ranking researcher from Krovax, was legally bound to become his spouse. The arrangement was part of an intricate diplomatic protocol that Jaewon couldn't begin to understand. You have 30 Earth days to accept this inheritance, the holographic messenger explained. Failure to respond means forfeiture of all rights and resources. Jaewon's mind raced. His current life, developing software for small companies, living in a cramped apartment, eating instant noodles, seemed insignificant compared to this unexpected opportunity. His fingers trembled as he touched the holographic interface. Acceptance would mean leaving everything he knew behind. Rejection would mean returning to his mundane existence. The messenger waited, its expression unchanging. Outside his apartment window, Seoul continued its relentless rhythm. People walked quickly, cars moved through crowded streets, and life continued, as it always had. But for Jaewon, everything was about to change. He thought about his parents, now deceased, who had always told him he was destined for something different. They had supported his technology dreams, encouraging him to think beyond traditional career paths. What would they say about this extraordinary moment? Jaewon took a deep breath. The holographic interface pulsed, waiting for his response. 1. Touch would alter his entire existence. His cursor hovered over the acceptance button. Memories of his lonely life flickered through his mind. Endless work hours, few friends, no romantic relationships. This inheritance represented more than just money or a strange marriage arrangement. It was a chance at something completely unexpected. The messenger remained silent, watching. Jaewon's finger moved. He pressed the acceptance button. Instantly, the holographic room transformed. Star charts, alien language scripts, and complex mathematical equations began dancing around him. The tiny Seoul apartment seemed to dissolve, replaced by a sense of infinite possibility. His ordinary life had just become extraordinary. The messenger smiled, a strange, calculated expression that suggested this was merely the beginning of a much larger journey. Welcome, it said, to your new life. Outside, the first rays of dawn broke over Seoul, casting a golden light on the city. But for Jaewon Park, a completely different world was about to begin. The transportation pod hummed softly as it descended, through Krovax's atmosphere. Jaewon pressed his hand against the transparent wall, watching alien landscapes unfold beneath him. Massive crystal structures jutted from purple-tinted ground, while strange floating vegetation drifted between enormous rock formations. His heart raced. This was nothing like the world he knew. The landing platform gleamed with a metallic surface that seemed to breathe and shift under his feet. Automated systems scanned him, blue light dancing across his body. Every movement felt uncertain. Every breath a potential mistake in this alien environment. Suddenly, she appeared. Arya stood precisely 3 meters away, her posture military straight. Her skin had a soft green tint, with subtle silver lines that looked like intricate circuit patterns running across her arms and neck. She wore a professional research uniform that seemed both functional and elegant. Jaewon Park, she said, her Korean perfectly accented. Welcome to Krovax. Her eyes were unusual, larger than human eyes with multiple iris rings that shifted color as she blinked. She studied him like a researcher examining an interesting specimen. You are smaller than expected, Arya commented, her tone clinical and direct. Jaewon felt suddenly self-conscious. His standard Earth clothing, a simple black jacket and jeans, seemed ridiculously plain compared to her sophisticated outfit. I'm here, about the inheritance and our arranged partnership, he managed to say, trying to sound confident. Arya's expression remained neutral. Partnership is a complex term. We are legally bound through a genetic compatibility protocol established decades ago. The landing area around them was massive, with multiple transport tubes and strange floating vehicles moving silently in the background. Robotic assistants moved luggage and equipment with precision, their movements synchronized and smooth. Jaewon realized he was completely out of his element. Do you understand the terms of our arrangement? Arya asked, her multiple iris rings shifting from blue to green. He didn't. Not really. But he nodded anyway. A small mechanical device emerged from Arya's sleeve, projecting a holographic contract. Complex diagrams and alien script danced in the air between them. Jaewon could recognize some mathematical equations, but most of the document was incomprehensible. Our genetic match suggests we have a 87.6% compatibility for producing advanced offspring, she explained matter-of-factly. This is considered an excellent genetic combination in our research protocols. Jaewon felt his face getting warm. Offspring? Compatibility? This was moving far too quickly. Arya seemed to sense his discomfort. For a brief moment, her professional facade softened. You are nervous. This is normal for first contact scenarios. A transport vehicle approached, its design unlike anything Jaewon had ever seen. Smooth, almost organic in its movement, it seemed to float inches above the ground. Arya gestured for him to enter. We will proceed to the research complex, she stated. There are many details to discuss. As they traveled, Jaewon watched the alien landscape. Massive structures that looked part building, part living organism rose around them. Plants changed colors as the transport moved, shifting from deep purple to bright silver. Arya remained silent, occasionally making notes on a transparent data tablet. Jaewon realized this was more than just a marriage arrangement. This was a complete transformation of his entire existence, from a simple software developer in Seoul to whatever this was becoming. The transport moved smoothly, carrying them deeper into the heart of an alien world that would now be his home. His ordinary life was definitively over. A new adventure was just beginning. The research complex buzzed with tension. Jaewon noticed something changing in Arya's behavior. Her movements became more guarded, her multiple ringed eyes constantly scanning their surroundings. During a routine data review, a strange signal intercepted their communication systems. Encrypted messages flickered across holographic screens, revealing fragments of a complex plot. Someone wanted to prevent Jaewon from claiming his inheritance. We are being watched, Arya whispered, her green-tinted fingers moving rapidly across the communication panel. Unexpectedly, the complex's security systems began malfunctioning. Doors locked randomly, communication channels scrambled, external surveillance drones started moving in unusual patterns. Jaewon realized this was no ordinary security glitch. Holographic projections suddenly appeared, showing multiple alien factions. Their representatives looked like shadowy figures, their forms shifting and changing. They discussed Jaewon's inheritance in a language that sounded like complex mathematical equations. Humans are wildly unpredictable, one shadowy figure stated. That's why he was selected. Arya turned to Jaewon, her multiple iris rings shifting rapidly between colors, a sign of heightened emotional state. Your genetic lineage is more important than you understand, she explained quickly. Strange robotic devices began surrounding the research complex. They moved with synchronized precision, creating a network of surveillance and potential attack positions. Jaewon's software development skills suddenly felt relevant. He recognized patterns in the robotic movements, subtle glitches in their communication protocols. They want to prevent us from accessing the full inheritance, Arya explained. Her professional demeanor was replaced by a sense of urgency. The complex's defense systems started responding erratically. Energy shields flickered, communication channels became increasingly unstable. Jaewon noticed something interesting. The robotic devices, despite their advanced design, had predictable movement patterns. His years of coding suddenly felt like a potential weapon. I can help, he told Arya, surprising himself. She looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time since their arrival. Her multiple iris rings stopped shifting, focusing into a deep emerald green. Explain, she demanded. Using skills from his software development background, Jaewon began analyzing the robotic network's communication protocols. Small vulnerabilities existed, tiny gaps in their synchronized movements that could be exploited. Outside, the alien landscape changed. Crystal structures began shifting colors. Strange floating vegetation moved with increasing intensity. Something big was happening. The shadowy figures in the holographic projection continued discussing their plan. They believed Jaewon was just a simple human, easily manipulated, easily controlled. They were about to discover how wrong they were. Arya watched Jaewon work, her professional demeanor slowly transforming into something resembling respect. His fingers moved across alien technology with surprising speed, creating defensive algorithms that seemed to confuse the attacking systems. Humans are indeed unpredictable, she muttered. The research complex's systems slowly stabilized. Communication channels cleared. The robotic devices began retreating, their synchronized movement suddenly broken. Jaewon had done something unexpected. He had disrupted a complex alien conspiracy, using nothing more than his understanding of communication protocols and software design. Arya looked at him differently now. No longer a random human in a contractual arrangement, but something more, a potential partner, a potential threat to those who wanted to control his inheritance. The first battle was over. But the war was just beginning. The attack came without warning. Massive energy waves disrupted the research complex's systems, creating chaos in seconds. Alien vessels appeared in the sky, their designs unlike anything Jaewon had ever imagined. Organic shapes that seemed to breathe and pulse with destructive potential. Arya grabbed Jaewon's hand. We must move quickly, she said, her voice calm, despite the approaching danger. Using his software skills, Jaewon began analyzing the attack patterns. Most alien technologies followed predictable communication protocols. Humans might seem primitive, but their ability to adapt was their greatest strength. He noticed something in the attacking ship's movement, a subtle rhythm, a pattern that repeated with mathematical precision. Most would see random chaos, but to a software developer it was just another system waiting to be decoded. I can stop them, Jaewon whispered. Arya looked skeptical. Her multiple iris rings shifted between colors, a sign of doubt and curiosity. Jaewon connected his personal communication device to the complex's main system. His fingers moved rapidly, creating complex algorithms that would disrupt the attacking ship's synchronized movements. The first ship suddenly veered off course, then another. Within minutes, the attacking fleet began to break formation. How? Arya asked, her professional demeanor cracking slightly. Every system has a weakness, Jaewon explained. Technology is just a language, and I know how to speak it. The research complex's defense systems, which had been failing moments ago, now responded with unexpected strength. Energy shields stabilized. Communication channels cleared. Arya watched in growing amazement as Jaewon transformed from a simple human into something more. His ability to understand complex systems went beyond traditional human limitations. Outside, Krovax's landscape continued its strange dance. Crystal structures changed colors. Floating vegetation moved with mysterious purpose. More attack waves approached, but Jaewon was ready. Each new wave of alien technology met unexpected resistance. His algorithms worked like digital antibodies, identifying and neutralizing potential threats. "Your species is more impressive than our initial research suggested," Arya commented. Jaewon didn't respond. He was focused, creating new defense mechanisms faster than the attacking systems could adapt. The battle wasn't just about survival. It was about proving something fundamental about human potential. Hours passed. The attacking fleet reduced from hundreds to just a few scattered vessels. Their once synchronized movement now looked like confused, random motion. Arya's respect for Jaewon grew with each passing moment. He wasn't just a contractual partner anymore. He was becoming something more. As the final attacking vessel retreated, silence filled the research complex. "We did it," Jaewon said, his voice tired but triumphant. Arya's multiple iris rings settled into a deep, calm green. "We did," she agreed. The complex's systems began automatic repair protocols. Robotic assistants moved efficiently, fixing damage from the attack. Jaewon realized something important. His life and soul, developing software, living a mundane existence, had prepared him for this moment. Every line of code, every problem solved, had been training for this unexpected journey. Outside, Krovax's landscape continued its eternal transformation. Strange and beautiful, it held countless secrets. Arya placed her hand on Jaewon's shoulder, a gesture of partnership, of mutual respect. "What happens next?" he asked. Her response was simple. "We continue." The research complex hummed with renewed energy. The attack was over, but their real journey was just beginning. The interstellar vessel moved silently through the galaxy, its design a perfect blend of human innovation and alien technology. Jaewon stood at the observation deck, watching distant star systems drift past. Arya approached, her movements now familiar and comfortable. Their relationship had transformed from a contractual arrangement to something deeper, a true partnership. "We've changed everything," she said, her multiple iris rings settling into a calm green color. Their actions during the recent conflict had disrupted multiple alien political systems. The way they worked together, human adaptability combined with alien technological precision, had created something unprecedented. Jaewon remembered his previous life and soul. Software development, small apartments, instant noodles. That world seemed distant now. Here, among the stars, he was something more. The vessel's communication systems suddenly activated. Holographic representations of alien diplomatic councils appeared. Representatives from dozens of different species, all watching Jaewon and Arya. "Your joint strategy has altered galactic power dynamics," one representative stated. Arya squeezed Jaewon's hand, a gesture of solidarity they had developed during their journey. The inherited resources were more than just financial. They represented a new approach to interstellar cooperation. Humans were no longer seen as primitive beings, but as potential partners with unique problem-solving abilities. Jaewon's software skills had become a diplomatic tool. His ability to understand complex systems translated across species and technological boundaries. "What shall we do next?" Arya asked, looking at him. The question was both personal and political. Their research complex continued developing revolutionary technologies, communication protocols that could bridge different species, energy systems that could transform entire planetary economies, medical technologies that could heal across genetic differences. Jaewon thought about his parents, who had always encouraged him to think differently. They would be proud of what he had become. The vessel moved through a particularly beautiful star cluster. Colors shifted, blues, purples, silver, creating a backdrop that looked like a living painting. Alien worlds drifted past their observation, window. Some were covered in crystal forests. Others had oceans of liquid metal. Each represented potential, new discoveries waiting to happen. "We are creating something new," Arya said. Her statement meant more than just their personal journey. They were creating a new model of cooperation, human creativity combined with alien technological precision. The diplomatic councils continued their discussions. But Jaewon and Arya knew the real conversations would happen through action, through their continued work. Their inherited resources were becoming a bridge between species, a way to solve problems that had existed for generations. Jaewon remembered his first moments on Krovax. Scared, confused, uncertain. Now, he felt something different. Excitement, purpose, possibility. Arya's hand remained on his, a connection that represented more than a contractual arrangement. A true partnership. The vessel continued its journey. Star systems drifted past. Alien worlds waited. Their story was just beginning. The observation deck remained silent, but the potential was loud, enormous, waiting to be discovered. Jaewon looked at Arya. She looked back. No words were necessary. They had changed everything.